and I am here to talk about homeschooling again. So this is actually not a video all about homeschooling. This is just a little tip that I wanted to share that any parent could use, but I use it just because I homeschool the boys. So before I get into it, I would like for you guys to like, comment, and subscribe if you like my videos. If you like this type of video and you send a like, then I know I should make more of this. If you write comments, then I can interact with you, all that good stuff. So let's get right into it. This is what I have been doing for the past 3 summers to keep the boys continuing to learn over the summer. So that, you know, over the summer you will lose some of what you learned and you may not retain all that information. And so because of that, I came up with this idea that I was doing it through, I started it 3 years ago over the summer, and it was such a hit that I continued it throughout the school year. So it is called a stamp chart. Now, I call it a stamp chart, and I came up with the idea because the boys used to go to a place called the Little Gym, and at the Little Gym, they would give them a stamp on their hands at the end of the day when they finished their class. They loved getting those stamps. It made them feel like they accomplished something, and they were so excited. So when I realized how much they like stamps, I decided to incorporate that into their learning. And I have been through maybe like 7 different versions of this. I adjusted according to what they need to work on. But the most recent one that they have that they were using for this school year, Bryce as a kindergartner and Noah as a 1st grader. I don't have Noah's down here, but I am gonna show you Bryce's. I'll probably even just put like a picture of it to make it easier to read. But basically it says that it's labeled Monday through Friday, and then the activities are flashcards, sign language, online learning game, piano, and reading. So Monday through Friday, they get to choose what activities they want to do to earn a stamp. And the only ones that they have to do daily are piano and reading. They need to play the piano and read every single day and get stamps straight across. So they should be at least getting 10 stamps a week, but really I say 15 because I want them to do these other activities at least 1 time. They can do as many as they want. It's up to them what they decide to do. Unless I see them doing one activity too many times and neglecting another one, then I will step in and say, hey, you haven't done your sign language all week, let's work on that. So this is what they used all school year this year. There was just a slight change in Noah's. I think instead of flashcards it said definitions, because I wanted him to work on knowing what certain words meant as far as like body parts and things like that. Bones and organs, things like that. So before I show you the one that I'm going to use for the summer, I just want to say you don't have to use, if you implement something like this, I use stamps because I know the boys like giving themselves a stamp. You could use stickers. You can let them draw a smiley face for everything they complete. Maybe they just want to put a check mark. Whatever way your child can reward themselves that will get them excited to give themselves that stamp for what they did. So now over the summer, this is what, so both boys have the exact same chart. This time I'm not changing it in any way. So what they have on here, nothing on here is daily. But the things that are on here are reading, sign language, computer work, piano, workbook, Spanish, educational game, and flashcards. This, for me, is what I want them to work on. If you did something like this, you may have 5 completely different things. You may only have 3 things. You may have 10. It depends on what you want your child to work on. For me, sign language is important for them to learn, so I have it up here. Spanish is important for them to learn. They've been doing sign language and Spanish for a couple years now. Although by the amount of Spanish they know, you wouldn't think so. But piano, Noah has been doing piano for 2 years, I want to say, and Bryce for a year. And as far as like, so I actually have examples of some of the stuff. So for flashcards, I have lots of flashcards. I typically make them myself. I do have some that I have not made. So for instance, these are our shape flashcards. So the shapes are there, and then on the back it is the shape, the name of the shape in Spanish. Not for all of them, but for something like heart or like circle, the word is there in Spanish as well. And in the future, I definitely see myself adding French. so that they can kind of start getting into that as well, and if not French, then some other language. Once I see that they're picking up Spanish a little bit more, because I mean, so far they don't really do any phrases or anything like that. They were taking a Spanish class, but COVID came and then it kind of ended. So here are the color flashcards. So we have the color in English and in Spanish right on the front. Okay, so there's that. And the reason I always like to make my own flashcards, because in my mind I know what I want it to look like, and I like for them to be big, and you know, I want everything to be like kind of in your face. So that's why I like to make my own flashcards. But like I said, I do have some flashcards that I use that I did not make. This is something that for 2 weeks earlier in the school year, we learned about the United States and landmarks of the United States. It was right at the time of the inauguration, I believe. And so we did the cards together. They cut out the pictures. I wrote the name of the place, and then they wrote what it is and then glued it on there. So that was a fun activity that they felt like they got to help put this together. So then we have like the Statue of Liberty. And so when they're doing these kind of flashcards, it varies how I test them on it. They test each other sometimes, but when I'm testing them, I try not to make it like so exact, because I want to make sure they know it and they're retaining it, and it's not just them memorizing exactly what's written on here. So for instance, this says the Liberty Bell, located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, symbol of American independence. So I might just show them this and say, do you know what this is? And then I might say, can you tell me a fact about the Liberty Bell? Or I might say, where is the Liberty Bell located? Rather than just saying what is located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and is a symbol of American independence. Because then it's gonna be rote memorization, and that's not really helpful if you're just remembering stuff but you're not actually learning it. So then we have Biden and the Golden Gate Bridge and things like that. So these are all symbols of America. So these are the flashcards that typically, I believe Noah was doing these more so than Bryce. And then this is not the last of it, but I don't have all of my flashcards that I made down here. I might just do even a whole video on flashcards. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. I have had people that were interested in the flashcards that I make, because I'm not getting them from the store, and you know, like I said earlier, they have a specific look, and it really works, especially with little kids. So then we have the continents. So the boys know all the continents, and they know a lot of facts about them because we have them here. And like I said, it varies on how I ask the questions about the flashcards. So I hope that's coming up clear. And then so we have some other ones, just addition, subtraction. We don't even use these anymore, which is a blessing, because they both read so well. They both are actually reading chapter books. Is that coming up clear? Okay. They both read so well. They're both actually now reading chapter books. Noah has been reading chapter books for over a year, and Bryce just started here recently. So they don't really need the sight word flashcards, but you know, I do still have them because we also have the baby coming up. We have, oh, wrong thing, we're not supposed to be talking about that yet. So that covers the flashcard part. Now when it comes to educational game will be something like this: math bingo, time bingo. This is good if you have little ones who are still learning their letters. We don't use these anymore, but again, we do still have them because we have Chance, who will soon be, well, maybe not too soon, but at some point he will be reading and or learning to read and learning his letters and things like that. Same thing with this. They don't really use they don't use this at all. They haven't used that in forever. This is something they could still use. They do know their opposites, but it's okay to continue enhancing something like that, because it could be a word in here that they don't know. Oh, I don't know, because we haven't used them in a long time. And then this is just more puzzles, like the two-part puzzles you put together. It has like 6 candles, and then you have to put it with the number 6 kind of thing. And then these are math puzzles. So that is what would constitute an educational game for them, and that would get them a stamp if they did one of these games. Moving right along, Spanish. I have been teaching them Spanish myself, but my Spanish is limited. So for the summer, I am going to look into, my husband was saying Babbel, but I'm gonna look into trying to find some, try to find like the best free app that can, or software, whatever, that can help them learn Spanish so that they can start speaking phrases as opposed to just knowing a few words here and there. And then workbook. I specifically brought workbooks for the summer, so I'm just gonna show them to you. I got these all from Five Below. So this is math games. This one is, I have 2 reading comprehension. One is gonna be for Noah, one is gonna be for Bryce. They can definitely brush up on that. I thought this was a really cute one, the little word search. I might even let them share this because neither of them, like this can be a good enhancement for both of them. Noah writes in cursive and he does pretty well, but he can always enhance. So I got him a cursive handwriting book. And then this one is Money and Time. Noah has learned money, but I haven't taught him how to tell time yet. So this is something we will be working on over the summer. So these constitute workbooks, and for the most part, I have them do between 2, it depends. If it's something that's a little bit more challenging for them, then I may just have them do 2 pages. If it's something that is more of a review and they're just brushing up on something they already know, then in that case, I would have them do like 4 to 6 pages. Because if it's something that they're breezing through and it's just helping sharpen their skills, then they can do more pages. But I never have them do like 8, 10, 20 or anything like that. It's typically between 4 or between 2 and 6, depending. Piano. That's self-explanatory. They sit there, they play the piano for as long as they want. Computer work. For computer work, I have spoken about this in my last homeschool video. Computer work would be for us, education.com or ABC. We do not do ABC Mouse anymore at the moment. I don't know if I'm gonna go back to it, but for right now, I'm very happy with education.com and with ABC, especially because I don't have to pay anything for ABC to get usage out of it. And right now on education.com, they're doing sort of like a learning path, and so it's for their grade. So for Bryce, his stuff is kindergarten, and for Noah, his stuff is 1st grade. And then when he's going down the path, it'll be like long E. And then it'll be a list of activities that are all under long E sounds. And then let's say if it's math, it might be geometry, and all the activities in that chunk is all geometry. And until they get them all right, they don't get a check. And then for sign language, the boys know songs in sign language. They know several words and phrases, numbers, alphabet. They know how to start a very simple conversation with someone in sign language. What else? They know a lot of animals, colors, things like that. So basically sign language is just sharpening up on their skills. So I may just say to them, have a conversation, greet each other. And then they'll say hello and, you know, nice to meet you, all that stuff. Or I may just say, let's test each other back and forth with animals. You say an animal and then I do it in sign language, or whatever the case may be. I may at some point create a list, maybe a list of all the colors, the animals, the numbers, and they can go off of that chart to do it. But for now, they know it, and they know it pretty well, so they can just do, you know, test each other with different sign language phrases and words and things like that. And then reading, I did have it on here on the one that they use for the school year. Bryce was supposed to read for 10 minutes, Noah was supposed to read for 20 minutes, but I never found myself sticking to that rule because Noah's reading chapter books, so pretty much he just has to read 1 chapter. Sometimes it takes him most of the time it takes him less than 20 minutes. The books that he was just reading, he just read a series called, it's the Stink series, and I think it was 11 books. And the chapters are not very long, so it never took him 20 minutes to read a chapter, but it was close enough to 20 minutes where I didn't have him read 2 chapters. So every day he would just read 1 chapter. And now that Bryce is doing chapter books as well, he'll do the same thing. Instead of keeping it on 10 minutes, then he just does one chapter. And on certain days he decides like, oh, I don't want to read a chapter book today, I don't want to read the next chapter in this book, I'll just read, you know, the Step Into Learning book or Step Into Reading books, whatever they're called, and he'll just read like 3 of those, which is kind of like, I don't know if it's really equivalent to a chapter, but it's enough reading to satisfy me. So that is what they do. This is what we will be doing over the summer. We will also be doing Spangler Science. Spangler Science is amazing. My kids might be a little bit young for it, especially Bryce, because some of the stuff is like kind of like going over their head, but it's nice that I'm showing them now, and they may not get it right now, but it's all about repetition and continuing to teach and show them these things, and one day they're just going to get it. Just like with learning to read, it was like one day Bryce was the biggest shock and surprise because he was reading at 3. He was actually reading pretty well, but he was reading like Bob books, and it would be like a sentence a page. It'd be like a book with like 4, maybe 6 pages and a sentence a page. Each sentence had like 3 words in it, and he was reading it, and then, you know, he knew all of his letters, of course, and the letter sounds, and then one day he just like out of nowhere just started like really fluently reading books, like big kid books, not even the Bob books. And I was just like, whoa. And it's just because of that repetitive, the repetition, just continuing to show them things over and over and over again. So this, all that to say, the Spangler Science, it can be a little confusing for them now, but they love doing science. They love watching how things work. They may not totally understand it, but I'm still showing it to them. So I did a Spangler Science subscription, and we didn't do science enough because even doing it once a week was not enough to keep up with the experiments. So I have like, I think I have 5 unopened boxes up there, so I canceled the subscription because that will get me through the end of the year. But I will definitely go with them again because the experiments, it comes with almost everything you need in each box, and the experiments are fun. Even I find myself like, oh, I didn't know that. And you know, we're all, I think I said it before in another video, we're learning a lot of stuff together because I don't know everything. So as they're learning, you know, why the sodium did this to the whatever, I'm like, oh, you know, that's amazing, I didn't know that either. So I love that aspect of it. But that will be their summer. This will not take a huge chunk out of their day, but it will be enough to where they are still continuing to learn. There will be some new things that I'll be teaching them over the summer, but a lot of it will be just continuing to go over what they already learned. I'm definitely going to teach Noah how to tell time over the summer, and I want to work on like long vowel sounds and things like that with Bryce. Today they are going to do an assessment, so I know exactly where they are and what they need to work on for going into the next grade come September. But for right now, this is what their summer will entail. They probably will still wake up most mornings and get right on the video game and then get dressed for the day and then want to play outside. But at some point, they will do this work Monday through Friday, or at least Monday through Thursday. They need to be doing something educational because, you know, it's just not a free ride. So that is how I keep my children learning over the summer, keep their brains sharp, keep them going. If you want to incorporate something like that into your child's summertime agenda, I think it'll be a really good idea and it could be really helpful. But if you have other ideas of something that you do, whether you're a homeschool mom or not, because this is not just for homeschool parents, this is for anybody who wants their child to continue learning over the summer, and I'm pretty sure that's everybody. So if you have any other ideas that you think that I could use, trust me, I am all ears. I would love to hear it, or I guess all eyes. I'll read it if you put it in the comments. But that's all I wanted to say. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye.